term. Who's up to bat? Joe. Well, Joe's here, and he's up to bat.
Thanks. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Dunstan.
Here.
Commissioner Heady.
Here.
Commissioner Padilla.
Here.
Vice Chair Mercado.
Here.
Chair Rife.
Here. Joe, nice seeing you. I'm consistent. Okay. Any reordering the agenda? Are we good this time? I'm not even joking. Are we good this time?
As far as I know, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Hey, Joe, you got to double check too, though.
Some of us are more involved than others, okay?
Ooh, that was good. That was a good comeback. Okay, I don't see any presentations. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Can I have a second? Someone was here.
Second.
Okay, a couple of extensions, I think. Joe, you got?
Just Joe.
Just Joe?
Just me. I abstained. I was in New York.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. I got nothing on the calendar. I got no continued public. I got no new public, so we'll talk about other business. The Riverview Villa projects. Who's the... Oh, Andrea.
So you know you got that too.
Yeah. Give me the big yellow thing.
That's just making sure you saw
The
that.
big yellow. Yeah. got
Just
it.
making sure.
Sorry, Andrea. I was being misdirected by Vice Chair Dodson.
Vice Chair. Thank you for the.
Oh, are you the Vice Chair? Oh. Sorry.
You got demoted in
He's the sub vice chair.
Sorry, we're looking unprofessional in front of Carrie. Sorry, Carrie.
Ooh, it says we.
I think he.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's you. You're up. Do you want to? You can make some few jokes too.
No, I'm good.
All
all right.
Sorry. It's been a very, 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 very long week.
All right, well, good evening, Chair Rife and Commissioners. This is the preliminary review for the Riverview Villas project. Back in December, the applicant presented his conceptual plans to you on the project, and now a formal application has been submitted. So the purpose of this meeting would be for staff to provide the commission and the applicant with our initial comments, and also for the commission to provide the applicant and staff with their comments to include in the incomplete letter. So, do we have the pointer? Yeah, okay. So, the project site is located at the southern end of McMurray Road, so just above it where you see the star, just below Albertsons there, and in between Albertsons and the Santa Ynez River. And I'll also note the existing water treatment facility that's just to the, sort of to the southwest of the project site. Okay, so the water treatment facility here, Albertsons here, and this parcel here would be the project site. The project consists of a final development plan as well as a tentative tract map. The applicant has proposed that at some time in the future, the project would convert to for-sale condominiums, and that is why a tentative tract map is included as part of the submittal. The property is zoned general commercial with an AHOZ overlay zone, so the project will be developed under these regulations. The site's 3.06 acre site, and the project consists of a multifamily residential project, which includes three three-story buildings and a total of 75 apartment units. And this, to break it down a little further, it includes 20 one-bedroom units and 55 two-bedroom units. And just a side note that each unit would have a private patio or balcony. So the architectural design of the project most closely fits the Mission Revival architectural design style, which is approved per the community design guidelines. The AHOZ regulations require that 20% of the units that are provided are affordable units. So of 75 units, 15 would be required and 15 are proposed to be provided. An in-lieu fee could be paid for the fractional units required in each income category. So the inclusionary zoning requires that a certain number of units in each income category. So the total number of units is provided. However, the fractional units that are required for each income category would be, an in-lieu fee would be required for that. One more parking space than is required is proposed for the project, and 26 bicycle parking spaces are also required, or are provided, I'm sorry. And the required level environmental review is pending the completion of the initial study, which sections will be done with a consultant as well as with staff. So once that's completed, we will have the level that would be required. So.
And if I can just chip in on that, we will be doing, as we discussed previously, there will be a noise study, traffic study, biological study, and a hazard study regarding the water treatment facility. So all of those things is what we will look at as part of the initial study, but those studies will be required as part of the project.
Okay, so this is the site plan for the project. So here's McMurray Road. Albertsons would be up here to the north, and the Santa Ynez River down here somewhere, and here's the water treatment facility there. The project, there's 2 access points into and out of the project site along McMurray Road, one here at the top that leads into the majority of the parking along the project site, and one here at the south that leads into sort of the main building of the project, which includes the manager's office, the lobby, and so forth. So there's 3 buildings, and each building includes both 1 and 2 bedroom units, sort of a mixture in each building. We have a open space area, which includes a pedestrian promenade, a trellis area, pathway, a barbecue area, and horseshoe and bocce ball courts. And let's see here. And we also have bicycle parking, which I believe there's a few up here in the north and 1 provided somewhere down here in the south, for a total of the 26.
And the pedestrian promenade is also the fire department turnaround access point, so you can get complete circulation through the site.
Okay, and then we have 2 trash enclosures located in the parking area that are proposed, and each would provide 50% recycling and 50% waste. So, let's see. Oops. Where did that go? Okay, so these are the elevations. So like I said before, it's Mission Revival, most closely fits Mission Revival design style. This elevation here at the top is the south elevation of buildings 1 and 2, so the buildings closest to McMurray Road, and this would be facing the 101 freeway here. This one is facing Albertsons to the north, and it's also buildings 1 and 2. So this is also buildings 1 and 2. This is just the west elevation, which would be fronting McMurray Road here, and this is sort of facing the Patty Bakes area and the existing residences to the east. This is building 3, so this is furthest away from McMurray Road, and this is what would be facing the 101 South. This would be facing...
That's river.
Oh, sorry, the river. The west elevation would be facing the rest of the project site, and this would be facing the existing residences to the east, and this would be facing sort of near Patty Bakes, Albertsons area. So again, the project most closely fits the Mission Revival design style, which is approved per the community design guidelines.
Andrew, can I ask you a question? Did we decide to keep Mission Revival when this is all based off the old community design guidelines?
And then we haven't updated them, so that's still valid.
I understand. But
We were not getting rid of Mission Revival outside of the Avenue of Flags area.
okay.
And you might mention these comments are from Greg Rabat.
Yeah,
Greg Rabat,
he says that in here.
Yes.
Okay. So can I ask a question on these? So I read this like this. This is pretty extensive. Normally we don't get comments like this.
Yeah.
Has applicant seen this and responded to these things? And I'll ask him.
Well, we don't respond, at this meeting, it's not necessarily a response, because it's providing input from the commission on whether
Okay.
you like these types of things, you can get into the dialogue.
Okay, well, have you guys, let me ask, from a staff perspective, have you guys reviewed these?
We've taken a look at them,
Okay, and
yes.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out is some of these seem very specific, and with what I'm gonna try and get at, the bottom line is, have you reviewed them to see which ones may be too extensive for a recommendation and which may be a good recommendation?
Not at this point, and Andrea's going to go through some of them.
Okay.
But can I see?
Okay, so basically, again, it's most closely fits mission revival. And these comments are from Greg Ravada, as Mark mentioned, our design consultant. So one of his comments was just to provide more detail on the street side elevation, so facing McMurray Road, just to add more architectural elements to make it have more to it. Similar comment on the windows, so providing more detail and more variety, and also the arches, providing more variety in arches that are consistent with the Mission Revival style, and also providing tower elements to break up the mass. He did note that having a tile roof facing the 101 North would be a benefit aesthetically, and also that the parapets and or tile roof on McMurray would be fine as long as it followed the design guidelines. So some of staff's initial comments. So a height modification or development plan modification for the height would be required. The highest point on the proposed building is 40.83 feet, and the highest feet would be 35 in the CR zone for a building. So the height increase would allow for the pitched roof idea with the tile roof. So the next would be the minimum density. So 25 units per acre is the minimum density requirement in an AHOZ site, and the project proposes 24.2 units per acre. However, the project would meet the density requirement based on the municipal code. The municipal code allows you to take out the non-buildable acreage of the project site and the fire access or the fire lane, so the square footage of the fire lane could be taken out, and therefore it would meet the density requirement. The open space requirement, so 250 square feet per unit are required, and currently the project plans show both private outdoor or open space as well as public, so most of the balconies would be included, and that is allowed per the code. And also the outdoor open space that's provided, the bocce ball court, the barbecue area, and the pedestrian promenade. Currently, based on our calculations, the project site is short of the requirement by 750 square feet. However, the project plans do not currently show the trail connection that would be required as part of the plan, so those may be able to be included as part of the open space calculation. So some more comments. Staff does recommend an outdoor children's play area to be included and added to the plans. Several other projects have had this. I think the Buellton Apartments is one. The next comment would be to show this 20-foot wide bike and trail easement along the river on the plans, and also to show the extension of the sidewalk on McMurray to complete this connection. The wall should be a minimum of 8 feet high and should be called out on the plans as split-face block specifically. Also, we noticed on the plans that a washer and dryer are proposed on the patios and balconies, and staff has made a comment to remove or relocate those to inside each of the units rather than on the patio. More details on the signs would be required. There is a monument sign that's proposed along McMurray Road, and but there's no detail of what it would be included. So just we would recommend that any signage would be included in the plans with more detail. Also, we do ask for some clarification on the storage space on the plans. So Planning Commission can recommend a maximum of 180 cubic feet of storage space for each unit. They currently show some storage space in each unit. However, it's shown in square feet, so it's unclear if they meet that requirement. And they did propose that they were going to be putting some out on the patio, but on the plans, it's unclear where that location is. So we just would ask for clarification on where those would be. The letter from the applicant does say that they do meet that requirement, so we would just ask that they clarify where those spaces would be. Also, full architectural details and materials call-outs are needed. They do provide a color board and material board. However, on the elevations, we ask that they show the materials on the actual site plan or on the actual elevations. And also, to that point, full color elevations should be provided. So, as you noticed on some of the elevations, there was no color or materials included, so we asked that those be completed around all areas of the building. And also, just another minor comment would be that the trash enclosures, the design of them would be shown on the plans and also match the buildings, the proposed buildings, the design of them. Okay, so as I mentioned before, the applicant has proposed that the apartments become for sale condominiums after a period of time. So they should become affordable for sale units once the project becomes condominiums, or it can remain for rent units under the affordability program. Staff does not recommend an in lieu fee for the for sale units. The applicant has proposed that they pay an in lieu fee. However, the purpose of the AHOZ sites is to provide the affordable units and not necessarily pay an in lieu fee for the project. So, however, an in lieu fee, again, for the fractional for rent units would be required for each income level when it's a for rent project, apartment project. The final development plan and the tentative tract map will both require city council approval because a tentative tract map is proposed. That would trigger city council needing city council approval for the project. And currently, all of the plans that have been submitted are insufficient to receive vesting rights, and these following plans would need to be completed and detailed in order for them to receive the vesting rights. If they remove vesting from the map, because the map currently states that it's a vesting tentative tract map, however, if they remove that word from the map, then just preliminary reports would be required at this time. And also, the project site is currently shown in the floodplain and floodway, so they would need to submit an exhibit showing that the revised floodplain, having the project be out of the floodplain. So another comment from staff is that the stormwater control plan that was submitted does not show sufficient retention and water quality requirements. And importantly, that the main comment would be that there is still a safety concern with the high-density residential project next to the water treatment facility. The staff's primary concern is a catastrophic release of chlorine gas. And that this is not addressed in the report provided. So also, the applicant's recommendations are long-term plans that the city has for the water treatment facility. So any expediting of these plans would be at the applicant's expense, not the city's. Let's see, some more design comments. So the planting design should consider screening the shopping center to the north. Currently, the plans show oak trees on the north perimeter, and the landscape design consultant indicated that they're too constrained there, and that Brisbane box would be more appropriate. They grow fast and grow big, and would provide a lot of screening as well as noise screening. So also, they recommend showing existing trees on the site and adding street trees along McMurray Road. Also, planting and grading should prevent runoff into the waterway, and vines are recommended to soften the masonry wall on the perimeter. Some more design comments, recommending that they eliminate any self-seeding or invasive plants from the plants list, and also that the shrub placement and the massing and the types of shrubs should be indicated on the plans. Also, plans should provide some information on site amenities such as trellis, seating, barbecue, and trash cans, so just the different architectural and elements there. And finally, the irrigation details shown on the plans are appropriate, but the final design will need to show the state mandated elements. So the recommendation would be that Planning Commission provide direction to the applicant and staff on the proposed project plans, and I'm available for any questions.
And I can address your architectural if you'd like.
Yeah.
This is actually what we want from our design consultant, is a complete review from our community design guidelines. In the past, we're still working through the process on the comments we received from him. So he's done a thorough review of the mission revival and some of the items that are would be associated with it that he doesn't see on the plan. And again, it's up to the commission. If you see something you don't like or want or don't want, it's like the trim and access materials said include one or more of the following. It doesn't say include on number 8 all of those particular items. So these items would get the project in compliance with the community design guidelines, but they're not all mandatory. So if the commission thinks there's a little too much, we can also work with the applicant during the incomplete process with the design consultant and staff and their architect to modify these to get where we need to go. So this is just the initial blush of what it's not conforming to as far as our mission revival style. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
And then the applicant, Mr. Karen Moriarty, is in the audience as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question here. So for the first exception they're asking us to make is the number of units. It's supposed to be 76.5 because of the area?
Well, so that the staff report shows that if they were not able to take out the emergency fire lane, then they would not be in compliance, or they would have a little less of the density that's required. But since the code does allow to remove that, to remove the emergency fire lane, then they do meet the requirement.
So there's no exception required by the commission on this. As we did with Juliet Walk, the required fire access doesn't have to be included in the density calculations.
So this goes away if we say, go ahead and let the fire road be used as non-buildable area. Then this 76.5 goes away and becomes 75 without any
and staff
exception.
is already, that's part of the code already to allow that to occur, and we've done that on other projects.
And so we just have to agree, or does the commission have to say yes to that, or does staff do that?
Staff would do that. It's just part of the
Okay.
code requirements of the HOZ ordinance.
Okay, then my question is mute.
Anybody else from Mark or staff?
I have a couple just brief questions. Tentative track map process, what is that?
That's a map process that creates lots. So
Okay.
if you're living in a single-family development and you have your property,
Yep.
a tentative track map is what created that property.
Okay.
For an airspace project such as this, it's a one-lot map, and they create airspace for the units. And they don't do that through the city. They do that through the Department of Real Estate, the state.
Okay.
And it creates this little airspace around your living unit, and then everybody owns the property in common. So that's what an airspace condo map is. But a tract map creates property, and this allows those condos to be created.
Got it. The other question I had was related to the in lieu fee. Can you clarify that? I just never heard that before.
The in lieu fee for the fractional units?
Yeah.
Or, okay, so basically part of the inclusionary zoning, so again, they provide the appropriate number of affordable units. However, it's also required that in each income level, so there's very low, low, and moderate.
If you look on page 2 of your staff report,
Yes.
I'm sorry, it shows you the fractional breakdown.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know if it wasn't completely clear about, where that was.
Well,
related to what.
typically, it would require, if you had 6.555 required units, you'd be required to put 7. He's providing 6, and he would have to pay the fraction
Got
of
it.
that.
Done. That's what it is.
The low is 4.365, he's providing 5. He's complied with that. Moderate, 4.08, and he's providing 4, so he plays the fraction of the
Pays
point.
fraction. I got it. Okay, that makes sense.
And how do you figure that cost? Just what it costs to build a unit?
No, the County of Santa Barbara Housing has the affordable housing fees that we go by for the
Okay.
Santa Ynez Valley.
Okay, gotcha.
Just to get to a little more detail on the in lieu fee. So there's the in lieu fee because because of the fractions piece, but when he goes to sell the units, he also wants to pay another in lieu fee. Am I understanding that right? Okay. So what's the amount for the in lieu fee when he goes to sell the units? Is that the 87 grand? No, the 87 grand's for the fractions.
Yeah.
So what's the in lieu fee for the, you don't know?
We haven't calculated
You
that
haven't
at this time.
calculated
The reason staff's not supporting that is the amount we're going to get is really not going to do much for us in providing
To
affordable
build it,
housing.
yeah, I understand. Are you tracking?
Yep.
Okay.
Back.
Yeah, good questions. Anything for staff? Joe?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Artie?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, thank you, staff. Carrie, you're up to bat if you want to say anything. I got questions for you, but
Sure.
you can speak too.
Just a couple of comments.
We love hearing you, Carrie.
I don't know about that, but anyway, for the record, my name is Kerry Moriarty. I'm the developer of the project, and yeah, we think this is a great, exciting project. Appreciate being able to present it to the city. Just, we just received this information as of Friday, so, I was really not prepared to respond to the detail of these comments, so we're kind of a little off kilter here. I would have preferred to have a little bit further notice. I know staff is under pressure to respond within the 30-day non-complete letter, so I understand that. But I would have, liked to have brought in my team to come in and answer some questions in detail, but maybe that's irrelevant. My understanding tonight is just Mark explained it to me earlier, because I freaked out earlier. I thought maybe this is a public hearing and we're not ready to really respond or get into detail on some of the comments. But he explained it properly. So I understand you're just looking at, to validate some of the comments listed on this letter, and that's fine. And we will respond in detail to all of these comments, which is our requirement. Regarding the architecture, I assure you it'll be a high-quality project in terms of construction and architecture. So I think my track record speaks for myself. Take pride in what I build and develop here in Buellton. Just, case in point would be Vintage Walk. Kind of the gorilla in the room on this project is this water treatment facility. And I don't know if any of you or some of you have read the consultant's report. We feel it's a very solvable issue. I don't, in the comments from staff, I guess there's a requirement that we would be responsible for paying for all design and construction and improvements, but I think that's a little unfair.
So hold on a minute. That wasn't in the packet.
No, we did not provide that. We provided the paragraph regarding our because this is not the appropriate time. We have to fully analyze the report as part of the environmental document and such.
Okay. So maybe it's not time to even talk about that, Mark?
It is a concern of staff. That's why we brought it up, and we will be looking at that as we move forward.
So
But
we
again,
haven't had a chance to read it.
Okay.
There's always one,
Fair enough.
500-pound gorilla in the room.
Yeah, fair
so
enough.
why don't you guys work it out with them and then?
Yeah. And what I was going to propose to Mark, at some point, is that we could bring in, on my cost, bring in this consulting group. Might be good to have the commission and staff do an inspection and have a tutorial and, further educate themselves on the treatment facility. I think that would really bode well.
I believe staff is fully up to speed on it since our public works director is one who manages it. So I think we know what's going on, and we'll be reviewing the information.
Yeah, but I think it would be good for the planning commission to actually look at it. The whole chlorine gas thing, we feel it's fully mitigatable, if that's a word, and but we have some other ideas on that as well, and we think it would be good to have the commission and the city come and take a look at it, because there are some long-term issues that, as staff reported, that the city may want to look at over the long term. But once again, I don't really feel responsible for covering all those costs under a pre-existing condition, something that we're not going to be creating. We could realize some of the hazard of that, but once again, I think it's a solvable issue, and so I didn't want the impression that people, and I heard somebody in the community say this the other day, it's a big issue, and, it's not San Onofre. It's a small little treatment center, and, there's 2 cylinders of chlorine gas. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I want to put that on the table, and I can work with Mark on that and bring up, we can set a date, and if you guys want to come out and take a look at it and get a better feel for that, and that'll be part of our response to the 30-day letter. Okay. And but we will respond in detail to all of these comments.
Everything's on the table. Work with Mark. We'll see what comes out of
fine.
it.
Okay, and I'm available for questions if you
Okay.
have any. Okay.
Looks like Dan has a question.
I've got a
Go
couple.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I have some too.
What's the possibility of getting an eastern exit? I mean, it just seems like we're going to put all our eggs in McMurray Road again, and the traffic there is very rough right now.
Well, I think Commissioner Heady, that's the traffic issues. I think are already accounted for in the general plan. So, there will be a traffic study done. We don't see the need for that. Now, the traffic study may, disagree, but I think, based on, it sounds like a lot of units there, but nobody, you don't get a lot of people on that street. You get a lot of people driving east to west on 246, but very few coming north to south. So,
Traffic study even going to cover that?
Yeah. If I may, the traffic study, Rose is working with our consultant to look at the on-site circulation, and Rose had actually brought up an idea of eastern access through Albertsons, but the problem with that is you can't condition this project for somebody else to do something. So if Albertsons doesn't give them the access, we can't put the eastern access through there. So with the loop, I think fire is fine, and people can also drive through that area during an emergency. It still goes to McMurray, I understand.
Yep.
But our traffic consultant will be looking at that particular issue.
yeah, it would take it out of our control if we had to go to a third access point, because then we would have to go to the Albertson Center owner, or there's a private, I think there's a private residential property that has a road, but we'd have to go to them and get their approval, and that could be, how those things go, and, it could be daunting. So, we prefer not to have to do that. Don't think it's necessary. We're providing 2 access points, but, that's something we can respond to in time after the traffic study's done.
And then another question is, I've gone through a couple of these things where we'll build apartments at the university and we're going to make them for sale later, or condos. And the thing is, what happens to the common piping, and how do you resolve that? So when it's a condo, it's owned jointly. When you make it a for sale item, where does that piping end? I mean, if I share a back-to-back toilet with somebody.
Yeah, Mark, might want to comment on that.
It will be, we will condition the project from the Public Works side as a condo project, because that's what their ultimate proposal is. And the building code will address it as a condo project as well. So all of those things, it won't be built as an apartment project, it will be built as a condo project, and take those into account.
But so I buy it in 5 years. All of a sudden, the pipe that my neighbor shares breaks. Who takes care of it?
Well, there would be a condominium association that would cover any exterior costs.
For sale.
Yeah, under for sale. And in asking for the condominium, the tentative track map, we would have to build it per condominium specifications, which would require individual utility lines for each unit coming into that unit. So it's going to be pre-constructed for condo conversion. It's just a function of legality in converting it, not physically converting it.
Dan, can I ask a quick follow-on? Just
Sure.
real quick, just while we're on the concept of the rent and sell. So I guess this is a part we can have a conversation, because we're not really voting, right?
Right.
But I'm definitely opposed to the rent than the sale, because I'm not game for that in lieu fee for that affordable housing stuff. So I'm not sure what everyone else thinks.
I agree with you.
Okay, so I don't know if that seriously impacts your project, but I would seriously consider you not getting approval to sell
Well, one of the options.
Excuse me, to accept the in lieu fee, I should say.
I mean, to pay the in lieu fee.
Yeah, exactly.
They could take the 15 units once they're for sale and transfer them like to the county housing authority, and then they would continue them as rental units. That
Sure,
would be staff's.
I get it.
Yeah, well, we you know, what we do in 5, you know, who knows, it could be, keep it as 10 or 20 years as a rental, you never know.
Okay.
We just want the option in 5 years to go to a for sale product, and, you know, if you have you know, in my mind, if you have a rental, whether it's affordable or a for sale, they're, you know, it's, you know, they're both affordable components. Affordable products, so the city doesn't lose out on that. In terms of the in lieu, you know, there's you know, history that the in lieu fees are very you know, very advantageous, and you can use those funds to leverage into other affordable projects. So
Santa
it's
Barbara County?
Yes, yeah. So
In larger cities that get larger fees, but the city has that much fees, and that's
I
really not
can't
going to
imagine.
leverage a
housing
multi-million-dollar project.
complex.
So that's the basis for
Well,
our
I was just
it's not a deal killer, but we
Okay.
would like that option,
we
and
just-
we probably will make an argument for it, but
that's fair.
it's, you know,
game for
it's not a
arguments.
deal killer.
Just may lose. That's
Yeah,
all
well,
I'm
you
saying.
know, yeah.
I was on debate scholarship, and I got to talk last.
Okay. Well, we'll revisit that one there,
Okay,
but
fair
that's
enough.
kind of the typical process that's outlined in the affordable housing, what do we call it, ordinance, or, yeah.
It is, but.
So we're not
staff doesn't
making it
have-
up, that's what's
Yeah, no,
available.
we get it.
And staff is just making one
This
recommendation.
is part of the two-way conversation, right? Just letting you know, most likely that's not going to be okay.
Okay, I'm going to
Go
write
ahead,
that
Dan.
down.
I apologize.
Oh, no.
Okay, is
That's
that
a good
good?
question. And then architecturally, or just design-wise, floor layout, so option C, two-bedroom option C, you enter in the front door and you hit the kitchen. I mean, that's just sort of a little, I don't know if that's done for plumbing purposes, so that it lines up with somebody else's unit, but, I mean, there's a couple of them there where I think you first open up the door and you're in the kitchen. And there's, and then, and actually it's option A for the one-bedroom. You enter kitchen and the living room. That's just, to me, that's a little backwards. I don't know.
Well, we can take a look at that. That would, you know, it would, once again, this was a short notice, and my architect was already calendared for tonight, so I would have preferred to bring him up. But we'll go over that, you know, at the public hearing, or we may even address that if you want to add that to the
I don't know,
30-day.
Dan. I don't.
Let's just think.
It's a dining room. It's like a great room. It's a dining room and a living room. It's not separated. I don't know. I don't. All right. I think
Comment.
Dan may be flying solo on that one.
Okay.
I fly
As long
solo.
as it's not a water tower.
I was gonna say I fly solo all the time, so I'm not scared to call you out.
And if I may, in your incomplete letter, the Planning Commission comments will list, and you see how they're discussing, so you can take those as you see fit.
Fine. That's fine. Okay.
Dan, anything else?
Just on building 3, that's the only one where you have a regular laundry.
A common area laundry?
Yeah.
I thought we had 2. I thought we had 2 in there. I'll have to double check that. But I thought we had 2 common areas, and then what we did with what more developers are going to with multifamily is offering the outdoor washer dryer hookups. Now that's something, when I was talking to my architect on it, I thought, that's a little odd. And he said, no, this is where, things are going. Michael Tobes, I'm sure you heard of Tobes Construction. That's what he does all day long. That's what he does on all his multifamily.
Not here, though, I don't think.
Yeah. That's something we can look at from a practicality standpoint. Maybe it's not a good idea, but let us rethink that.
Even if they were to provide a closet style with the stackable, in room or in the house, but
Sure.
I think just the sheer look and feel of apartments having outdoor laundry, and the visual of that.
You don't like that one, huh?
No, that's a hot button for me, brother.
Okay, well, I kind of had the same feeling when
You had a good feeling there, so.
when Michael Tobes does something, maybe.
Soft out that, and you typically will have, if anything like my house right outside where it exits, I have all this, whatever you want to call it,
Lint.
Flint. Lint. And if you figure that here, you have 3 stories worth that they're all
You're just
sort
going to
of
blow it into the
lined up.
neighbor's window, you know?
Or it's just going to be down on the ground.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you're going to have the same problem with the gang laundry, but you can probably control that some way.
Yeah. And once again, we'll check on the common area laundries. I thought we had 2.
Okay, but just
I know we have 1, but I thought we had 2. And, you know, we'll double check that.
My issues would be the laundry, the in lieu fees, and the wall. I think you need to have a taller wall between Albertson and you need a minimum of 10 feet.
Oh, man. See, I don't like that
I
one.
just got a wall put over behind our house, and it is almost 12 in some areas, and it's just the right height.
And the noise study is going to help us
And that'll help
determine that.
because
Yeah.
the whole idea is you might be neighbors, but you don't have to be neighborly, and you want to have safety and protection. And you have that track access behind Albertsons where they unload and stuff like that. That whole area needs to be protected.
Well, what we may look at, I respectfully disagree. I think 10 feet is way over the top on that. When typically you'd provide I don't want to get confrontational, but typically you provide a 6-foot block wall. Should pretty much mitigate noise and privacy issues. If you want to go 8 feet in certain locations, now a large part of that alleyway there, it's just through a drive-through, and then the actual drop-off is further in to the alley. So maybe it's a combination of a 6-foot rising to an 8-foot. In terms of noise, I don't think you're going to get a lot of noise. You got to remember that the actual structures are, I think they're over 200 feet from that alleyway. So it's not like you're right next door.
I'm just thinking, long term,
Yeah, and then the other thing from an aesthetic standpoint, you don't want the complex to look like a penitentiary, with these giant block walls. We're trying to, keep a certain aesthetic feel to it, but your point's taken there, Mr. Art.
And then on there was a comment made on some of the landscaping that more, I don't know, is this one or the other
No,
one?
it's not that one.
That you need more,
It was on the slides.
more,
Trees and no invasive.
yeah. I mean, I looked at your plant list, and you have a nice plant list. I didn't have to agree with the guy. There's some of the stuff he does is great, but I looked at your plant list, and I think you got a good plant list. Some of them I would say they need to be bigger than 1 gallons, just because I do a lot of that work, and 1 gallons takes a long time to grow. So I mean, some of the stuff at 5 gallons is not a big price differential. So.
Well, 24-inch box.
Well, the box of the trees, yes, but the 1 gallon plants and some of these other stuff that are shrubbery type stuff,
And
it can make a landscape look different just having some of the bigger stuff on top and then the lower stuff that's 1 gallon. That just
And some of
something to look
the
at.
issue on the north side is there was only a 5-foot planter, and they were putting oak trees.
Right.
5 feet, it's not going to work with
No,
oak trees.
no.
We're recommending 8-foot with Brisbane box, which are faster and more screening in that particular area, and we can have the oaks along the McMurray Road frontage and along the river area.
Joe?
I'm good. Thank you.
Brian?
On top of what the gentleman over here say, as far as the conceptual design, if we could get something a little more accurate to be what is actually going to be demonstrated, which I'm sure you're working on with your team, so that's fine. In regards to looking at the building height, because we want to have more of a
Roof, we want to add a tiled roof. We feel it's just more fitting for the property.
And I'd be game for that, just as long as I think one of the things the design study did was looking at making sure there weren't some kind, any kind of like air conditioning ducts or anything like that that's going to be on top of there. So I'm good with that, just as long as.
Yeah, well, that they wouldn't be because they'd be in the roof, the attic area. That's where your ducting work would be, so you could cover that.
Okay, so it wouldn't be visible.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of one of the other than the aesthetic architectural appeal. You could do all your air conditioning and ducting inside the roof line there,
Yeah.
attic area. So.
That's definitely favorable.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And we'll look at all, those architectural details that are requested. We'll
And we'll work with you on that.
make
That's
some
part of-
adjustments there, what I'm trying for on this, as far as a design is, trying to stay, with a classical look, but with a more contemporary feel, because that's what's popular now. And we feel that, younger folks are gravitating more to this new movement towards, a more modernistic feel. So there's a balancing act of try to keep it, kind of a traditional looking. We didn't want to go, old Spanish like downtown Santa Barbara, but we wanted to stay with, more of a Mediterranean or what was the, I call it Mediterranean, but what was the?
Mission Revival.
Mission Revival, but a little bit more of a sleeker, contemporary look. That's what we're trying for on this, so.
Well, I think the comments about having more arches in there lend to that mission style, so if there could be more of those elements incorporated, that and the wrought iron they're talking about would definitely bring that into that form.
Sure, okay.
I'm good.
Okay, well.
I'm not done. Yeah, sorry. So I'll keep it short because I know we're kind of being repetitive now. I don't get anything contemporary out of this view. And now that I get a good look at the elevations, I'm not really a huge fan of them. So just, can we try to follow some of this document? I think the statement, the elevations are repetitive and nondescript. It kind of goes on and on and on. And I know you're not prepared. And I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll take a second look at those.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a young guy, so you saw what we did over here. You saw what we did with the townhomes. You're getting the idea. I'm not sure this is fitting into that mantra. Just fosters peace, if you will.
Well, once you just to follow up to that, I don't want to get. There's a lot of units, a lot of building mass, and I don't want to get too many things going on. If you get too much individual articulation on the facade, then it's going to look like
cheesy.
Disneyland, we're trying to keep enough, but have more of a, more of a monolithic look to it within the individual unit. So that's what we're trying for. So that's our our challenge there. We don't want to get too busy on these units or on these buildings.
That's why you pay an architect a lot of money. You'll figure it out. Hey, I hate Disneyland. Brian will testify to that.
Yeah. Well, I like Disneyland, but at a certain time and place.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. If we could just work on that. I don't like the elevations. I think it does not look. I don't get contemporary. I don't know. It looks like a big old. Honestly, do you know what it reminds me of? It looks like barracks I've stayed up in Air Force bases.
Oh, come on now.
No, I'm not even joking around.
Okay.
Some of it looks pretty. Just because it looks pretty repetitive.
Yeah.
They kind of do the elevation. There's just not much to it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like Vintage Walk. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Well, just to reassure.
And Air Force bases are nice. I'm not saying it's crappy.
Okay.
I didn't say Army or Marines. I said Air Force.
Okay, you better not put that in your comments. But I assure you, this is going to be a very well-designed, good-looking. I've got a great architect, very, great track record with him. He's got a great track record, and I'm going to do something very. I think you've got to do something nice.
Yeah, hallelujah.
I'm not going to just throw up anything out there. So that's one of our big issues is we want a nice-looking building.
Understood.
Okay, so we're not going to shortchange you.
That's right. Yeah. Totally. All right, Kerry, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Look forward to seeing you again.
All righty.
I think we're all very much looking forward to the project. So.
Thank you.
Few hurdles, we're good to go, right? All right, so hold on. We got a couple of speakers. Peggy, you got your thing in first. You get to go first. I'm going to send you a picture of the barracks at in Nelliston of Las Vegas. You watch. They're nice. They just. Sorry, Peggy.
Good evening, Chair Reif and Commissioners. Thank you for letting me speak on this. I know it's not a public comment time, really, on this. We've got a long ways to go. One issue that is actually fairly minor, and you already tapped into that, was that this is ultimately a condo project, and I think that the all condos are apartments, but not all apartments are condos. So I think we need to scrap the word apartment from the project documents because we are building to a condo standard. I think it'll help to simplify the discussion and some of the concerns. Also, condos are just not just living spaces, but they're potentially investments for buyers, and they're usually at a higher level of quality and standards. They have more open space. There's a certain element to condos that apartments don't have. And this, again, is not apartments. These are going to be condos. So I would recommend just eliminating that. Now, in the conclusion remarks that RRM makes on this, one of the first things they say is that it's filling a need for a multifamily and rental housing for the community. Now, if these are becoming condos in 5 years or a year or so, and that's the other thing, I'm not sure if we want to say, okay, in 5 years, maybe 10 or longer. I think some of that needs to be kind of worked out as well during discussions. But if this is going to be, Cosmont is referenced in RM's conclusion paragraph about fulfilling the need for rental housing. And if you're going to be selling these, it's maybe at least 50-60% maybe owned, but the rest would be rental. So we're not really getting that much of a rental, added to our base. We need apartments, and
I think they are going to be all apartments for at least 5 years, and then 15, which are the affordable ones, will either continue to be apartments or. Well, they most likely will, but...
Right. Now, in condos, not all condos are owned or live, the owners of the condos living in those units, they can rent them out too. So, there is a variable when it comes to renting of condos, but my point is, we're not getting all of these as rentals.
Yeah,
we're not getting,
are.
because they're going to be sold as units, condo units, within 5 years or whenever the applicant
So you want the 5-year minimum to be longer, say 10 years? Or?
No, I'm just saying, it's concerning to me that they reference Cosmont's comments on how this helps to fulfill a need of Buellton, when in actuality they're going to be sold condos. They're not apartments. They're going to be condos sold. They're not going to be rental units. Some will, but I'm just saying that needs to be clarified. It needs to be talked about.
So I think maybe I'm misunderstanding, but these are going to be completely for rent initially, and then 5 years later, they will be sold as condos, and then they could be rented or they could be lived in by the homeowner. Am I understanding that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the way staff has addressed it, RM submits a letter with their take on things.
Yeah, I understand.
But what staff has said in our staff report, the purpose, there's a development plan and a tentative track map, and the purpose of the track map is to create for-sale condominiums in the future. The project would remain for rent for at least the first 5 years. So we stated up front, this is a condominium project that will be a for-sale project, but it will be rented for a certain time. We're not basing it on Cosmont's study or RM's letter. It's a multifamily project, and we're processing it.
Well, it's just part of the document in their letter, in RRM's letter, that was included. That's all, and I question that.
I just misunderstand your point. Is your point that there's...
That we do have a need for rentals.
And these are going to be all rentals for 5 years?
For 5 years, but... we need apartments.
It's not a long-term strategy.
Exactly.
Okay,
we have to fulfill the needs of the community at large, and whether this fulfills some of that, but it's kind of misleading.
What about 10 years?
Well,
no, I mean,
that I don't know. I think it depends on lots of different things, and that would be something I think that should be discussed by staff and during the planning process.
That's fair.
So, just bring that up.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say that Buellton needs both. For sale houses, condos, apartments, whatever you want to call them, and rentable units. So I don't think, in my eyes, I don't think Buellton loses if they become for sale, because there's plenty of couples or whatever that want to buy things.
And as Irma has just pointed out, too, being involved with the specific plan and such with Cosmont, these projects are market-driven. So there may be apartments for 10 years, 5 years, but there will be a need for sale and for rental. So that's what's basically going to drive it.
Okay.
I don't think the name of or the type of unit would sway my vote one way or another. The fact that we would have more affordable housing in some format coming to the community and that they're willing to build it is encouraging to me.
I do think it's fair to say that staff should at least consider the Cosmont piece on rental and see if the 5 years. I get the market argument. I do. We can all talk about Mr. Smith, but I something to consider, I guess.
We will.
Okay. Sorry, Peggy. Thank you. Good point.
Okay, well, it was in the document, so I thought I'd bring that up. But the other thing is, I'm wondering, if solar collectors had been talked about across the car parking area, is that going to be just open, or is that going to be have possible covers to the parking?
They're open.
So is it possible to do like a solar collector covered parking area? Has that been discussed?
You can add it to the list.
Throwing that out. I mean, well, now's the time to talk about it. He can
There's a
throw it out.
That's
On
another
a
recommendation.
We're not going to put comments from the public in our incomplete letter. It's more of.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not.
Well, and I'm just talking to you about it, and I realize it's under a business item, and it's just,
Honestly, I'd much rather see him focus on the other issues than spend money
Okay.
on the solar lot. In my
Okay.
opinion, I think he has a lot of issues in front of his plate. Not that the solar lot wouldn't be great. But
Yeah, I think that, doing infrastructure for things like that, even if it's not built right away, is a good thing. I mean, you're building, now's the time to consider something like that for even future development. If you should get a grant or something and say, we have the space, let's do it. So it's just something to consider for the future.
Okay.
So, and then that was talking about the trail that runs along. I think that was covered. I was concerned that it wasn't on the document, but I don't know how much. Our last apartments are 62 Buellton apartments. They did have to build the trail system, and I'm not sure how much the distance is between the development and the river trail. That might be quite a distance, and I guess that is what's being recommended that they take care of.
They will do an easement for the river trails, what we're asking for. And the river trail, we've only been asking for easements on all the projects because we don't have the money constructed. The Buellton Apartments was the terminus, basically, so we had them construct that. And then as we get the pieces in, Phil will take care of that. So we're asking for the easement as part of this project. There was a connection to McMurray Road.
Okay, so as long as that, I would really prefer that any development that comes up that has actually any development, whether it's adjoining to a trail system in the community or not, have a designated trail fee that they can put something to, but especially a project that has the trail right along with it. I mean, that would be a great selling point for this, the condos once they were to be sold. So, I mean, it's advantageous for the developer to include that, but anyways, I would like to see a little more, direction to the developer to include something more on the trails. But
And we can't impose fees such as that. We have to have a nexus, and just like traffic fees in the water and sewer. So that's why we.
I hear you, Peggy. I don't know.
Okay.
Right now, at this juncture, we got
okay.
a lot. Not that it's not like these aren't extraordinarily valid. We got serious hurdles.
Yeah. Well, and I agree that there's quite a few one bedrooms and 2 bedrooms, and that's great because that does fit in something that we're missing in the community. One thing is, I could live in a small space as long as the ceiling's a little higher. So I don't know about 10-foot ceilings, but I'm big on 10-foot ceilings, and I don't know if even it could be 9-foot ceilings. But it just really opens up a small space. So that would be my 2 cents on that. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thanks, Peggy. Good points. What is the ceiling height? I don't even know.
Follow-up on that?
Go ahead, Carrie.
Yeah, Peggy, the ground floor units have 10-foot ceilings, and the 2 upper floors have 9-foot ceilings, so it's going to give you a lot of space there. And just in terms of the apartment condo thing, one of the reasons we, want to keep it at a 5-year conversion time, and not to say that we'd use it. Market's going to dictate, but from a financing standpoint, when you have that ability for a for sale, it makes the financing much more easier to obtain than just relying on cash flow. And you've got a small community here, Buellton. A lot of lenders are going to say, I don't know. We don't know if the cash flows are going to support a loan to build. It's going to be a sizable loan to build that. But if we have the option to go to for sale, now they've got an equity play down the road that they feel more comfortable in the financing. So that's an economic function, and that's why we included that. From a use standpoint, like Joe said, whether it's for rent or for ownership, it's going to be a de facto affordable anyway because they're smaller units, it's higher density, you're not going to command big prices. Therefore, people on the lower end of purchasing power are going to be able to afford ownership. Creates a property tax base for the county and the city and helps everybody. So that's my argument for that. And we'll talk about the easement. We're fine with the easement, whether we build it or not. There are a lot of trail opportunities going down, and we may play with that a little bit, coming down from on the riverside, coming in and maybe doing some refining that a little bit for open space. That might be a good idea.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
That sounds great. Thanks, Kerry. All right, Finn. That's all it says.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, Kerry. Thanks for the time.
Finn Runge, Blue Blossom Way. Could you bring up the site map, please? So you need
Sorry, I didn't know we were going back to it. It's going to take a while to
Yeah.
come back up.
We have the maps.
Yeah,
So you need
okay. The east exit, you say had to go into Alperson parking lot.
So the issue. No. Did you hear the issue that Mark talked about?
Right.
That? Okay.
But there should be at least a way for an emergency exit here. Oops. Here, because if you have a fire here, heaven forbid, those people, which way are they going to go? They can't go that way, and if they have to go into the river.
No, they would go down the fire access way back out to
Okay,
McMurray.
it's one of those?
Yes.
Okay.
If you point that out, Andrea.
When you're in here.
Right there, that's the access way for emergency.
Okay.
And we can't, and just for your edification on Albertsons, if they deny access, we can't require it. So we can't condition this project to go on somebody else's property because they control
I figured
it.
for emergency.
Still would not be able to.
Okay, all right.
But
the lighting, after the Industrial Way incident, is that going to be taken care of by the HOA completely? Cost of installing light?
I think we're missing
Cost
a lot of
of
lighting.
paying.
I think we're missing a lot of lighting details at this juncture.
yeah,
right?
we're not at that part of our.
I think you're ahead of us. The lighting. There's not a detailed lighting plan here
Okay.
Yet.
So yet. Keep in mind, this is just preliminary. We haven't voted on anything.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the fiasco on Industrial Way.
Yeah.
It started 2 years ago, and will take another 2 years.
Understand. We go down there a lot too.
Uh-huh.
I hear you.
Okay.
But I mean, there's a lot of issues. Lighting was included.
Okay.
I mean, he's got a lot to take back. He's got a lot of homework.
Yes.
Yes, he does.
Okay, well, that should cover it.
Is that it, Finn?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, thanks for coming.
For this time.
Yeah. Come back. We like comments.
And we'll be putting together our comments and getting the letter out Monday, and we will copy the commission on our incomplete letter.
Okay.
It has a lot more details than in your staff report. These were just the major
Okay, so
items that we put forward.
you're gonna email it out for our review like you normally do?
No, you just get it for
our
information.
Okay. All right. So if you miss something, I can add it to it. No.
No.
That's what I thought you were gonna say. That's what happens if you miss something.
We never miss anything.
Oh! Wow.
Write that down.
Bravo.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm gone.
I said that once too.
Yeah.
You're taking off tomorrow, so you can disavow any
Did you
knowledge.
say drop the mic? Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's going to drop the mic on his head. Okay. Written communications, none. Planning commissioner comments, anybody?
I
None.
just say-
Oh, yep.
I just say, nice work on the lights, on the street lights.
Oh, thank you.
Rancho de Maria is brighter.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely see it on our street too.
Okay, Mark, over to you, Plan Director Park.
Yes, I was going to say the lights all should be in, and we are getting probably more positive than negative on the lights. And you can actually see what the color of things are when you're outside now, I think. So. We're sending out our weed abatement letters, been going out the last few weeks on yards and lots that have the weeds. That's our annual type of thing. So if you see any that we haven't addressed, just let Claire or Andrea know, and we'll take care of that. Habit does have plans into building department for check, and the building has permits. So the building should be going up for both Chipotle and Habit, and then the tenant improvements will be going there, so we'll be getting those in shortly. And you can see everything else. Tilton's almost completely enclosed.
Yeah.
And there's actually buildings up for the townhomes now.
Any word on the Crockers, whatever that?
The Commons?
No, well, that too, but no, the thing next to the Motel 6.
Oh, the old,
Oh,
Baker
Baker
Square.
Square. That's A-OK Equipment. They sell lawnmowers, chainsaws, and those types of equipment. They're in, have one in Solvang behind Ace Hardware
So it's going to be a second location?
And Santa Barbara.
in Santa
So they're
Barbara.
going to have a location in Solvang and Buellton.
I don't know if they're keeping the Solvang one. I haven't heard, but they're
Okay.
fixing up the Baker Square building and be moving into that.
Okay, A-OK Equipment. Okay, and Commons is just same old. How are we doing with that stuff, Irma?
Well, they're still working on it. We
Okay.
don't have, I mean, we've met with them and we conveyed, you know, the
General feeling,
concerns
yes.
and the general feelings, and, you know, we had a conversation with the architect and all their planning
Okay.
team, so they're diligently.
And they're
working on
taking
it.
your concerns regarding not being Halesburg and those types of things. So they're on board
Who-
to do that.
They added 2 water towers, Dave.
Yeah.
It's actually going to be one on top of the other.
And Fig Mountain has submitted their development plan for their whole master plan. So I've just received it this week, and we'll be processing that. And
we'll see it in the next meeting.
not the next meeting.
Okay.
Depends on where
Did
it's.
they de-westernize it?
I have not looked
Okay.
yet.
Okay,
So,
no
but
worries.
it depends. If they've addressed most of the comments, we may just schedule a public hearing, not do the initial 30-day review if there's no incomplete things. But you'll be seeing it in a relatively short time, one way or the other.
Okay. I think there's anything else? Any other stuff? Gosh, so much.
Unless
Anything
you
big? Anything big on the agenda?
Next agenda, I don't think we have anything.
Just in general.
No. Well, the Commons and Fig will be the next ones, and then when
This.
Kerry comes back with this.
Okay.
So I think that's it for now.
All right, good today, good work. I know there's a lot of review on this project, so thank you, Andrea. Mark gets 0 credit, and we'll adjourn. We'll adjourn at 7:06. Pull the card.
As correctly identified.